Good morning. I'd like to share with you some comments today about our return to in-person worship and other activities and ministries here at the Epworth United Methodist Church. I've been the pastor at Epworth United Methodist Church as a senior pastor for over 12 years. In that time, I have baptized and married and attended the births and the deaths and the funerals of many of our members. The Epworth Church is my family. In this extraordinary moment in our church's history, I have tried, with the support of a very gifted COVID-19 task force, to listen to God's voice, over anyone else's, including my own desires and opinions concerning our gradual, phased, and systematic return to in-person worship and activities. And I have sought to follow what God plainly tells us in His Word, in the Bible, in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Two of the most difficult decisions I have had to make in over 37 years of ministry as a pastor have been these two. First of all, to suspend in-person worship and other church activities here at Epworth, and then secondly, to resume in-person worship and other church activities here at Epworth United Methodist Church. I want to tell you today that the projected date to begin gradual, phased return to in-person worship at Epworth United Methodist Church will be Sunday, July the 5th. That is assuming that the COVID-19 data in our Lee Russell County's area is conducive to return to in-person worship. I want to share with you today something that's on my heart because I want you to understand some things as we return. First of all, here are some things that it will not look like when we reopen. It will not look like something that everyone will like. We have made many adjustments to our scheduling and our program that many of us, including me, have not liked. For example, we have canceled a number of activities that have become the hallmark of ministry here at the Epworth United Methodist Church. Fun Fest, the Mother-Daughter Banquet, Vacation Bible School, Preschool, Mother's Day Out, Blue Lake Camp, Junior High Serve Week, Youth Camp, Senior High and College mission trips, weekly Bible studies and prayer meetings. None of us wanted to make those adjustments. In fact, the older I get, the less I like change and disruption in my own schedule. But I know now, and I am convinced that the decisions and the choices that we have made have been in the best interest of our Epworth Church family. And it will not be business as usual pre-coronavirus conditions. We will not begin immediate resumption of all worship activities and services on July the 5th. Again, our resumption to in-person worship and activities will be both gradual and in phases. All other adult, youth, and children activities and ministries will be resumed on later dates, assuming that the COVID-19 data in our area supports resumption of those activities. One of the things we want to avoid is we do not want to return to in-person activities only to be forced to cancel activities once again. Instead, our resumption to in-person worship, ministries, and meetings will look like the following things. When we return to in-person worship at Epworth, we will start back with the 8:30 worship service only and then begin a gradual transition to in-person worship. Only those persons who typically attended the 8:30 worship service prior to the suspension of in-person worship should attend the 8:30 worship service when we resume in-person worship here at Epworth on July the 5th. The 9:45 and 11 o'clock worship services will continue to be offered online, but they will also be added to in-person worship as quickly as possible, assuming, again, that the COVID-19 data will support their return. In advance, I thank you for cooperating with our policies and procedures. We request that you attend only the service you were attending prior to the COVID-19 suspension of in-person worship here at Epworth. In other words, the 9:45 attendees who typically attended the 9:45 worship services should attend the 9:45 services when we come back. Only the 11 o'clock attendees who attended the 11 o'clock worship service before we suspended 11 o'clock worship should come to the 11 o'clock services when we resume. It is quite possible that we may have to utilize a weekday pre-registration system through the church office when we do resume in-person worship. There are many churches, many businesses, and many schools who have not opened for business. And there are many who plan to resume meeting later than the date that we are projecting here at Epworth United Methodist Church. But we are determined that we will err on the side of caution, not chance, when we begin our gradual resumption of worship and other activities at Epworth. The procedures for returning are not just for your good, but they're for the good of other people as well. Jesus said, "Love your neighbor as yourself." We strongly encourage, advise, and would prefer that everyone use protective face masks when in the building or in the parking areas as well. A limited number of masks will be available at the entrance. However, we are encouraged to bring your own. Bathroom facilities will be available, but limited to the bathrooms between the gathering room and the fellowship hall. We will use only one entrance to the church when we resume in-person worship here at Epworth. That entrance will be the door nearest the large parking lot on the south side of the church. As you enter that door, the prayer chapel will be on your immediate right. Children are welcome to attend worship activities and services with their families, but nursery care, children's church, and Sunday school and donut and coffee fellowship activities will not be available when we initially return to in-person worship. We strongly encourage everyone to practice safe social distancing practices while in the sanctuary and the parking lots. We strongly discourage hugging or handshaking within the sanctuary or parking lots for the time being when we resume in-person worship. We strongly encourage worshipers to leave promptly and expeditiously, leaving the sanctuary and returning immediately to their vehicles, minimizing interactions with others who do not live in your immediate household. When we return to in-person worship at Epworth, we will be practicing social distancing by sitting in alternating pews. Every other pew will be closed off and at least 6 feet apart. Families who live in the same home may sit together, but should maintain 6 feet from persons or families who are sharing the same pew. Initially, congregational singing and the use of hymnals will be minimized when we return. We will not have a choir when we first return. Instead, special music will be the primary musical focus when we first return to in-person worship. Worship services and maybe even sermons will be shorter when we first return. Tithes and offerings may be placed in plates or containers upon entering and leaving the sanctuary, or you may continue to give online or mailing your donations to the church to P.O. Box 430, Phoenix City, Alabama 36868. Bulletins will not be available when we first resume our in-person worship services here at Epworth. As we get closer to in-person worship and activities, it may be necessary to share other guidelines for enhancing the safety of our worship services, as the very fluid COVID-19 situation warrants it. We will begin the gradual phased approach to all other Epworth ministries and meetings as quickly as possible, assuming again that the COVID-19 situation allows for it. Finally, I want to remind you that if you are experiencing symptoms related to or that are typically associated with the COVID-19 disease, please do not attend in-person worship or other activities or ministries until you have been cleared to do so by a medical professional. Also, please know that if you are concerned at all, or if you're reluctant to attend in-person worship or any other in-person activities at Epworth, considering the risk that you will be assuming, I encourage you to stay at home and enjoy the worship services online until you feel comfortable coming to church in person. Again, in advance, I want to thank you for your patience and for your support by cooperating fully with the guidelines recommended by me and the COVID-19 task force. Just remember, Epworth family, we are in this together. Don't give up, don't give out, don't give in. Just keep your hand in Jesus' hand and your eyes on the cross. We're going to get through this together. We're family. Have a great day, and God bless you.